Anytime you force yourself into a toxic situation against your will, meaning you know it is an unhealthy environment, you know it's narcissistic and abusive and potentially even dangerous for you to be in this environment, yet you're going maybe because of outside influences, outside pressure, expectations. Well, here's what you can expect to experience. Well, number one, you're going to be filled with anxiety going into the situation. But at some point, this anxiety is going to transform and turn into a complete numbness. You're going to enter into this toxic space feeling surreal, like you're not even a real person. You might find yourself acting out of character. You might be laughing and giggling at things that aren't even funny or at nothing at all. You might be trying to converse with other people, but it's just going to be mumbling words of nonsense coming out of your mouth, and everybody's going to be looking at you like you got crabs coming out of your ears. You might find yourself getting up and trying to offer help by doing the dishes for them or carrying things for other people, but really you're just buying time that seems to never end, time that you just can't wait for it to be over. You're out of place, you're out of time. These are symptoms, by the way. What are these symptoms of? These are all symptoms of self-abandonment. And in this message, I want to talk with you about this self-abandonment. We're going to talk about what it is, why you abandon yourself, when it began in your life, but most importantly, we want to talk about how to heal self-abandonment. Let's go. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I do continue this very important message for you about self-abandonment, I want to let you know that I am here to support you, those of you right now who struggle with self-abandonment, meaning you are going into toxic situations, maybe with family members, with in-laws, or even in your marriage. And it's hurting you. It's crushing you. I'm ready to spend one-on-one time with you to coach you through this. Schedule some time with me. Telephone calls and video calls are available. Also, I do have a coaching program, and now my coaching program is live and in person. It's not pre-recorded videos. It's not written material that you have to read on your own. I am taking my time Monday through Friday, each and every day, to spend it with you to answer your questions in a community setting. So if you're looking for that type of a community, head on down there and consider joining the Royal Week coaching program, and let's stop with the self-abandonment. Now, what is self-abandonment? Self-abandonment is physically being present, but mentally and emotionally, you're checked out. You're not even there. It's as though you are driving a car, and then at some point you put a brick on the gas pedal and you bail. You jump out that door, and the car just goes wherever. It's like you being a captain of a ship, but then it's entering into a storm and you just jump ship, and the ship is now just being taken over by the waves and by the storm. It's being steered by the wind. This is what it is to abandon yourself. It's physically being present, but mentally and emotionally and even spiritually being checked out, which causes your body to physically be in a situation, taking on abuse, maybe being used, maybe being exploited, maybe even being raped, while you are mentally and emotionally somewhere else, not even there. It's a very dangerous place for you to be. It's a dangerous place for anybody to be in. Self-abandonment is a very serious issue that plagues a lot of people. I wasn't even aware in my own personal life that I had fallen into a habit at some point in my life of self-abandonment, which is why I continued in my own personal life to go into toxic environments with narcissistic siblings and in-laws, despite not wanting to be around these people. Yet there I was in surreal experiences, checked out, physically present, but mentally and emotionally not even there. It wasn't until I had a conversation with a fellow coach. This gal is amazing. We were conversing while we were working on a podcast, sharing our stories with each other. And I remember I was sharing with her about a time when I was young, in my teenage years. And at that time, I was in an environment with an abusive stepfather who's verbally abusive towards my mother and towards me and my brother. And I was sharing with her that I remembered a time when I stood up as he was yelling in my face, calling me all kinds of names and cussing and screaming. And I could still remember feeling the spit come out of his mouth and this and that. And I stood up for the first time and I just stared at him. I didn't say anything. I just looked at him, waiting for it to end. And a part of me wanted to believe that I was standing up for myself. But it was this other coach that said, Kevin, it was at that moment you abandoned yourself. Yes, you physically stood up and you stared, but mentally and emotionally, your ability to use your voice, it fled. You hid, yet physically standing there. And I never looked at it that way, but this coach was absolutely right. That's exactly what happened. And it started a pattern, a habit in my life of being able to do that. You can call it fawning. A lot of people in psychology call it fawning. You know, there's fight, there's flight, and there's fawn. There's fighting back, there's getting the heck out of Dodge, but then there's fawning, which is standing there, even if you feel like you're being strong, but really you're fleeing yourself while leaving yourself physically there and vulnerable to attack, but teaching yourself that it's okay. You mentally and emotionally can check out. This begins a journey of self-abandonment. And as I continued on in my age, it was easy for me to then go into situations because I had learned how to stand and be present while having no captain of my ship, so to speak. So this is a bad thing to have, right? Many bad things happen. People get killed because of their self-abandonment. People get raped because of self-abandonment. All kinds of horrible things, all kinds of horrible abuses can happen because of self-abandonment. Going into toxic situations against your will is the beginning stage of self-abandonment. The moment you feel uncomfortable, the moment you feel yourself mentally and emotionally and spiritually fleeing your body. And you know this because of all the symptoms I shared with you earlier. You feel numb, you feel surreal, you feel out of place. You're not even being yourself anymore. So now let's talk about healing self-abandonment, because this is something that I have had to do in my own life, and it's something I coach people just like you to do as well. The first thing to do to end self-abandonment is to learn the value of foresight. Foresight into any stormy situation. What does this look like? As a captain of a ship, they have to have the ability to have the foresight to check the forecast before they go out into the ocean in their ship, and to pay attention to the storms, to pay attention to the weather systems, to pay attention to the waters. And then from that position, the captain has the ability to say, you know what? I'm not going out in that water. That's the first stage of being able to say no and stand firm on that. That's you being invited into a toxic situation, but having the foresight to say, nah, them waters are rough, too rough for me. I'm going to say no. And it doesn't matter who that offends when it comes to the safety of yourself, your crew, and your ship, your vessel, which is your body. Listen, there are pilots out there who are watching this. You know what I'm talking about. You've got a plane full of people. You're the captain of the airplane. You're on the runway, but a storm's coming. Everybody wants to go and get to their destination. Everybody else is expecting to be at a certain place at a certain time. But you, the captain, you say, you know what? No, there's a storm coming. I ain't taking off in that. There's no way. The answer is no. We're going to sit right here and we're going to wait for the storm to pass. This is the first stage of healing your self-abandonment. Self-abandonment would be, oh, we're going to take off anyways. I'm just going to hope the autopilot kicks in and gets us through this storm. Instead, the captain, the good captain, says, nope, that water's too rough. I'm saying no. The storm's going to pass before I take off. How this translates, I know I'm full of analogies, but how this translates is you being able to say, nope, I'm not going. I see that you've invited me to your Christmas dinner, but I'm not going into them rough waters. These people are going to be there. I'm not going. The answer is no. This begins your ability to have foresight into the forecast. I want you to remember that. Write this down. Jot it down in your notes. Foresight into the forecast. Know the temperament of the sea that you're about to sail into. Know and accept the temperament of the wind, of the storm that you're about to fly into. And then have the foresight and the ability to say, I'm not taking my ship into that. The answer is no. No matter who's disappointed. It doesn't matter. All that matters is your safety, that of you, your vessel, and your crew. Capiche? Yeah, you with me so far? The next stage of healing, self-abandonment, after you get the foresight of looking at the forecast of what you're going into and making a decision, then it's becoming one with your vessel, one with your ship. Many of you, myself included, have never quite been one with ourselves. What does this mean? It means we got to bust out that owner's manual. The owner's manual is in the form of you looking at the mirror, you writing in your journal, you taking everything into consideration about your physical attributes, how you talk, how you act, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. This is you getting familiar with your vessel, your sensitivities in life, your joy, your pleasures, what scares you, what terrifies you. You've got to know your ship. Once you take out that owner's manual of who you are and you read through it, you will slowly start to become one with that ship. You'll become one with yourself. You will physically, mentally, and emotionally and spiritually be one with your body. You will no longer separate yourself from your ship. A good captain of any ship is one with his ship. How many of you have seen movies or read stories about captains that do go out on stormy seas, but they know the ship so well, they're like, my ship can handle this. When people are like, no, you got to navigate. No. She's good. My vessel's good. It's built to handle this. That's key. It's not going out unless you know you're built for that. It's not going into a situation unless you know that you are founded and you're secured and all your nuts and bolts in place are built for that. Then you can go into certain rough territory, certain rough waters, knowing exactly what you can tolerate, and you'll never abandon yourself because you know you can handle it. But see, you're not going to get to that point until you accept your owner's manual. What does this look like? I was having a conversation not long ago with a person, and I was sharing about certain temperaments and things like that I can't be around. I just can't do it, and it's not the rough waters I'm built for. This person was saying, it just sounds like you're very sensitive. And I thought for a moment, and at one point in my life, I may have taken offense to that. But this time in my life, I said, you know what? I am. That's right. That's part of my structure. It's part of the foundation of my being is my sensitivity. This is what allows me to be the royal we. This is what allows me to take the phone calls that I do. This is what allows me to offer help all around the world. This is what allows me. I can walk into the room. I do take on the aura, if you will, around me. I am hypersensitive to it. That's right. With that acceptance, guess what I'm doing? I'm accepting how I'm built. It's my owner's manual. It's within my owner's manual. I'm accepting my ship. Now it's my responsibility to make every decision in my life that's based on the protection of my ship, knowing what I can stand and what I can't. Many of you have never taken the careful consideration of your personal, intricate owner's manual. Meaning you've never looked yourself in the mirror as God has created you to know what you can withstand and what you can't in order to be able to say no and yes in the proper times. It doesn't mean you're not capable of riding out some rough storms in this life, because you are. It's just a matter of knowing what types of rough storms you're able to ride out and what rough storms you need to stay away from. All of this has to do with knowing your owner's manual, which is, again, an analogy for know thyself. Know yourself. God has not made you like the next person next to you. God has not made you like the other family members. God has given you a specific purpose in this life You are a specific vehicle that your soul, your emotions, your mind is meant to steer. It's time for you to become one with that. It's time for you to bust out that owner's manual, get so comfortable that you are one. This way, you will never abandon yourself again because you will know yourself. You'll be one with your vessel. How many of you are resonating with me so far? How many of you are saying amen? How many of you are saying, yes, I used to abandon myself, but I'm ready now to accept myself. And with that self-acceptance, navigate this world, facing the storms that you're built for, but staying out of the storms that you know are dangerous. I know this video is full of analogies. It's the best way that I can help you to understand self-abandonment and how to heal. As I said before, I am here to support you. Down in the description box below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls as well as video calls. I want to make sure that you understand self-abandonment and how to heal from it, because it's out of this that you will navigate the rest of your life, living the best of your life. No more self-abandonment, no more surreal experiences of you going on autopilot and checking out. There's no need for that. Putting yourself in danger. Head on down there, schedule some time with me right now, those of you who need it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button and the bell notification so that you don't miss any future videos from the Royal We. Schedule that one-on-one time with me. And before I do leave, check out one of these other videos. YouTube is recommending these videos for you because it knows what you're watching and it believes it's going to help you. I do too. So check out one of these other videos before you leave. Send me a message. Leave a comment for me down below. I would love to hear from you. Follow me on Instagram at Join the Royal We, and I'll be back with more right here on the Royal We.